Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Irena. I'm not even going to pronounce her last name. She's nice enough to let me slide on that. And today's topic is a good one. It's a texting dilemma. So anyway, Irena, first of all, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, William. I'm doing great. Thank you for
Good.
asking.
No, listen, it's my honor. So, Irena, tell us, how did you get here to today? What was that journey like to do coaching, to write your book, which we'll get into? What was that journey like for you to get here to this podcast, and obviously what you've been doing and enjoying doing?
Well, the journey has been, if I were to describe it in just one quick word, I would probably select transformative. It was definitely a bumpy road, but as far as how I got to coaching, it's something that I had realized that I have the power to help people after I started sharing and working on my own struggles, relationship skills, well, lack of relationship skills to be precise. I got married the first time I was 23, had no idea how to be in a connection, a relationship, got married again, got divorced again. So all of these experiences had kind of brought me to the place where I realized, like, we're pretty much almost all of us, we're not ready for relationship, to form healthy relationships. So my passion had developed based on that, and now I have plenty of wisdom from my own mistakes and experiences, plus the education, and it's just invigorating to be able to give somebody that set of skills to help them to start from the right place and not just do trial and error. So here I am now, coach, and trying to change the world one coached person at a time.
Yeah, listen, that works for me. So, and today's topic is the texting dilemma. So, and when I heard about Irena, and then we talked, well, we emailed, and I just said, hey, the texting dilemma is something that, to me as a man, bothers me. Maybe if I was in my 20s, maybe I would have been different, because I was very shy then. But as I got older, in my mid 30s and 40s, and I'm 61, I want to talk on the phone. I don't want to text. I don't mind texting, saying, hey, I'll meet you over there in 10 minutes or whatever. Hey, are you going to the park today? Whatever it is, short. But to have a conversation, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. So, Irena, what are you seeing out there now, especially the younger people, your generation, my generation? Is it better to text now? Can you really know a person by texting? Can you gather their voice and their tone, and know that they're upset with you, happy with you, sad with you? Can you tell from a text?
Well, again, the short answer is absolutely not. And you are bringing up a very, very valid point on getting stuck in this whole texting dilemma. In this, I actually have a blog post on my website, and it's called "Don't Get Stuck in a Texting Trap." Because what happens is, you very righteously noted the difference between generation. Like the younger generation, they're glued to their phones. What they don't realize is that they're not texting with the person that is actually behind the text. They are texting with the projection of their own desires, hopes, interpretations. You only see the words, but guess what? You are putting those words through your own filtering system, through your own life experiences, and then you imagine this person, and then you either develop the feelings or develop infatuation, or you hate that person, when in reality it's a completely different person that's behind it. So I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm like, no, I need a phone call, please. Let's call, let's talk on the phone. Because essentially our communication, it's only about 7% is what we say, the words. It's over 90% is nonverbal communication. You need to hear the tone of the voice. You need to catch the emotions, from that person in order to connect to that person. So my advice, and when I coach, that minimize texting, to bring it to a minimum, just for arrangements, like you said. However, it's not the way to get to know somebody. It is not.
No, I agree. So I wanted to go over. So you said a 7% of communication is verbal, and
Yes, the rest is
90%
non-verbal.
non-verbal. Wow, I definitely got to put that on the show notes. That's incredible. I mean, such a disparity of that. And so, like, for me, Irena, and I remember I was on a dating site, guy, maybe it's like 8, 9 years ago, maybe long. I can't even remember. And I remember a woman reached out to me, and I reached out back, and I said, "Hey, why don't we get on the phone and talk?" Her answer, "Oh, it's too soon. I'd rather just text." I'm like, my God, what's going on? Imagine I'm in my early 50s. So you talk, yeah, probably 10 years ago, give or take. And this person did not want to talk because I guess they didn't want to exchange phone numbers. And I understand, people are stalking, and I can understand that. But to me, a communication, you start a conversation, because some women always say, "Hey, I like stimulating conversations. I want to talk," or like, but I think that's just disappears somehow with the even like my generation, they're texting. It's like, and if they want to talk, it's like a 2-minute conversation now, 3 minutes. Okay, I gotta go. I'm like, wow, what happened? That just is it because people are getting shy? Is it people don't want to get to know someone? Is it people that are we wasting each other's time by getting on the phone? I know that's a lot, Irina.
Well,
So yeah.
we are actually no, that's it's you're describing all the challenges that actually absolutely needs attention, and we're wasting time by texting because we're not wasting time when we're speaking to somebody one-on-one. And that nonverbal communication that I mentioned, that over 90%, is this is something that this is this skill that majority of people unfortunately do not possess, or at least they do not realize how important this nonverbal communication is. And it's absolutely essential if you're trying to connect to a person. So what I want to say is that very often what I notice when I coach people, and I coach both men and women, primarily men, and at times women, when it comes to dating and relationship skills. And what happens is that people are so focused on the process that they are kind of get caught in just uh, getting attention, getting validated, instead of truly setting intention. There is a difference between attention and intention. If you approach your dating life, your love life, from the place of intentionality, when you're intentional, okay, I would like to be married with kids, have a house, have a happy family. What do I need to do for that? For that, you need to make sure that you are proactive. You need to make sure that you dedicate time to your own self-growth and self-development. You need to make sure you understand the opposite gender, whatever that is. You need to make sure you're prepared. What is it? Why is it that we need to get driver license to drive to make sure we're safe and everybody else safe? But then when we get in a relationship, we affect others, we affect the lives of others, and yet there's no license. There should be like mandatory relationship license before everybody gets married and get a relationship, in my opinion.
No, no, I 100% agree with you there. So, Irina, so we fast forward to today's generation. Or let me talk about even my generation now. Um, Again, when I was much younger, we exchanged phone numbers, which was great. There was no issue in terms of whether or not someone's a stalker or not right for us. You just pretty much, if it didn't work out, then you just don't call each other. And I understand women's dilemma that hey, they don't know this guy, that it's a possibility that this guy could be wrong for me. I don't know, so let me just text and gather information that way. How can you gather information through a text when, again, we talk about the verbal skills, which is, I mean, it's amazing that it's just 7%. That's mind-boggling to me. Are we getting to know someone just by talking? I know I'm keep on rehashing the subject, but I am so pro talking. Everything is just through text, and I don't want to even talk about online apps. I don't believe in dating apps. I'm against that. So I'd rather meet someone in person and get to know them. So my question is, how do we get around the texting dilemma then? How is there a way around it? Is there a way that we could communicate with people with verbal skills? Maybe some of us don't have it, maybe some of us do, but is there a way to get around it? Does it come down to a trust issue? Sorry for the long winded speech there.
No, no worries. No, there is no trust issue. And Texting, so you mentioned that you don't believe in dating apps. I actually disagree. And when I do coach, I always teach people to essentially maximize every opportunity. So you combine the online with the real life opportunities to meet people. Okay,
Yeah,
so there's no reason to cancel out one aspect of it when it can bring you in front of people that otherwise you would not have met, and it's time efficient. However, you need to apply a certain strategy that makes it efficient and effective. So when it comes to online dating, I teach people the strategy. You text for a few hours, it goes well, you get on the phone with that person. If the phone call goes well, you set up the first get together, the first date, okay? And you don't get stuck in texting forever. That's what I teach people. So that's what comes to online dating. How can we get around texting? It's very hard to get around texting in general, because a lot of people are, most of people, we function on autopilot. Very rarely when we go, wow, let me see if I can do something different today, right? We're used to the texting, we're used to look down at the phone. I
yeah,
see a younger generation walking around, glued to their phones. This is where the social life, quote unquote, is nowadays.
yeah,
It's not real. It is not real, actually. It's something that even promotes the isolation, the loneliness, and depression in general, if we dig deeper into that.
yeah.
But texting is still important. However, it's just the initial stage where you only understand, okay, is there some kind of potential to explore? If there's potential to explore, then by all means you need to get out of texting and get in front of the person, because compelling conversation is the beginning of connection. You will never build a relationship unless it's a virtual relationship in your head with somebody you're texting. And trust me, people do that. I
Yeah.
had a phone call with somebody. He said he'd been texting with somebody for almost 6 months. They haven't even met in person. And in his head, because he was so desperate for connection, he created a virtual connection in there, when in reality there was none. So people do that, unfortunately, but conversation is absolutely the only one to start connecting. You just
Yeah.
know around it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, with the dating apps, we might have to have you on again for that one because I think that'll be an interesting subject to talk about, online dating. Because, like I said, I'm not, excuse me, I'm not a fan of it. But I like what you said about texting. Maybe to get to know someone. A few texts here and there, and then if it goes well, then you have the conversation, and then from the conversation, if that goes well, then hey, how about let's meet up for a drink or two or dinner, whatever. I get that. I think I'm okay with that. I just don't want it to be like you said, where one of your clients was texting for 6 months, and in his mind now that's his girlfriend. No, I want the physical contact is so important because you get to see someone, you get to see their facial reactions and things like that. So going forward, so for your clients, so you'd suggest at least at the beginning, hey, let's do texting. Is there a time limit on the beginning of texting? Is it a week, 2 weeks, couple of hours a day? Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, there's I mean, there's no like one size fits all, right? So
Right.
there's kind of a blueprint, an outline. The idea is that you should be, this is where the self-growth, self-development, acquiring communication skills, learning about body language, learning about personalities, learning about the nonverbal communication comes in, right? So assuming the person is relatively educated on all those aspects, I hope that's the case. Then you text. If you feel it's going, if the conversation through texting is flowing easily, and I always say it's like you have to look for the ping pong conversation. Like you text, ask the question, he answers, question follow up, and it's kind of going effortlessly almost. And then literally within a few hours, you go, listen, the conversation is going great throughout texting, but I want to hear your voice. Give me a call. Here's my phone number. Let's get on the phone. Let's see if we actually click there. Okay, and then you get on the phone. I'm talking within a day,
Oh, wow. Okay.
a day or two, right? And then when you get on the phone, this is where you determine whether you actually continue with this easily flowing conversation. And if that is the case, and you feel like you still want to get to know this person deeper, then you go, wow, I've really enjoyed this chat. I'd like to continue it face to face. How about we meet in a few days there and there? No dinners, no drinks though. Just
Ah,
there's interact. Bad idea. First date should be very casual during the day, preferably somewhere where you're not separated and blocked with the big table between you, because you need that closeness to read body language. You need to allow your brain, your mind to read off the subconscious cues of the body language. So I never suggest the date to go to dinner on the first date. That's a very bad idea.
wow. So, okay, so would this is a different take because I hear some women say, no, on the first date, I want to go to dinner, and if he doesn't take me here, then he's cheap, and it's so contradictory. I love that because I said that listen, as a man, I've been on a couple of first dates where I know it didn't even work out because I just felt it's more of a I felt a vibe. I felt that something in my gut that this wasn't going to go anywhere, and I was right. I felt that the woman went out just to get that free dinner, and it happens to all of us. So it's, as I say, one under the bridge. Yeah, go ahead, Irina. I think you want to say something, so go ahead, please.
No, you can finish. No, that's
Oh, okay.
precisely like when I do that, women don't like me saying that. Maybe
Yeah.
this is the reason why I coach primarily men, is that the first get together, I don't even call it date. The first time you meet somebody, this is simply just to gauge if there's interest, if there is reciprocity in the connection. So when you go to dinner and a woman has an expectation for you to cover the whole bill, well, guess what? It gets awkward. This is why going to get a coffee that's $5 or ice cream or something very, very inexpensive to avoid that. Okay.
Right.
And I actually always suggest for women, when I coach women, to offer to contribute to the bill. And I know it differs between different women, different cultures and everything. I get that. However, in my opinion, when a woman offers to contribute towards the bill the first time you meet, if there's connection, that means she is a team player.
Mm.
However, it's very good when the guy goes, no, thank you, I got this, but thank you for the offer to contribute. Okay. So you watch how the person interacts with you. If you want to build life together with somebody, you don't want her to just stand there and expect you to take care of things by yourself, even though it's a very honorable thing to do. And you should do that, but she should offer to contribute.
Yeah, no, 100%. I've been on first dates where a woman says, "Hey, do you need? You okay with this? You want me to split it?" I'm like, "No, no, I got it. I invited. I got. It. I got no problem with that." So, what are some suggestions? So, is maybe a walk? Would a picnic be okay? Some sightseeing. What would you suggest? After that initial text, then you have the conversation, and now it's, "Hey, let's meet up in person." What are some suggestions of what are some activities that a couple could do?
So just to make it kind of simpler, in case it does sound too complicated, for the first time, you always have to make sure that it's a space where there is an opportunity to have a conversation where it's not loud. So if you go to the restaurant or to the bar or somewhere, you will have most likely to kind of yell over the music that's going to be playing in that particular venue. You want to make sure that you get quiet space where you can chat. So a walk in the park is a beautiful opportunity. Going to get ice cream, finding the bench and just sitting down and enjoying the conversation is a great opportunity. Somewhere where it's relatively quiet, where you can be side by side. So you have an opportunity for physical touch, which is also extremely important on the first time you meet the person, to get the vibe, to get the physical chemistry flowing. And doing some kind of shared experience together, as long as it's not something like extremely stressful, is also a good idea and a good way to connect to. But still, I still stand by having an ability and an opportunity and chance to have that compelling, quiet conversation the first time, because this is what will show you whether there's actually potential for connection. You can always do dinners, shared activities, and all that stuff later on.
Right. So that's down the road. At the beginning, a quiet place, a walk, eating ice cream, somewhere that there's some type of connection, a little contact. Hey, sit down, whatever. I'm pro 100% that. I love that idea because, in a dinner setting, people are around, people are right a couple of feet from you. So to me, Irina, I love that idea. Um, First of all, I want to thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I really appreciate it. My God, I have more of an eye opening now, and I could see that definitely text comes into play. Before I let you go, just a couple more questions. Talk about your ebook.
So on my website, there is an ebook on the topic that is probably one of the mostly discussed topics when it comes for me coaching men. It's the steps how to overcome fear of rejection. When I coach men, one of the biggest obstacles they have is how to approach women in the social setting. And very often the reason for that is just essentially anxiety over being rejected. So in this ebook, I give you practical steps on how to overcome that fear of rejection, because essentially every time you speak to somebody, it's an opportunity to potentially meet your connection. But guess what? Every time you speak to somebody and it is not your connection and you get quote unquote rejected, I always say rejection is simply a redirection. That means that that person, that connection is not yours. And what it does, it's filtering through the connection that is not yours, and it's bringing you closer to the connection that it is yours. And you got to remember, even if you try and you get rejected, you try, you get rejected, it will take only one connection with the right person to make all of the other attempts worthwhile. So if you just give up, you automatically fail. You don't get chances anymore. If you keep trying, you immediately raise your chances of succeeding and finding love.
No, I love that. I think that's a great idea of because I think a lot of men, and Irina, it's funny that you say that about rejection. I've been to a few single mixers pre-pandemic, and I always had a great time because I'm there to meet people. And then I see some men that are sitting by themselves or sitting off in the corner. And I'm saying to myself, so what's the point of you going to these things if you're not going to interact? It's like, are you looking just to get out of the house? So I definitely put this on the show notes about the fear of rejection, because all of us have that as men. Nobody wants to get
Rejection is
rejected.
part of life. We all,
Yeah.
yeah, it's uncomfortable, and it's very uncomfortable when it comes, especially to find and looking for your romantic partner, for sure. But it doesn't have to be. It's just essentially, it's a feedback. You get a feedback saying, okay, this is not my connection. Moving on. Thank you for your time. Going to look for another connection.
Yeah, I love it. Say next. And talk about more about your blog. You have articles there. Do you post every week, every day? So talk more about your blog.
Yes, I do have a blog. I post maybe a couple times per month. It's not like on regular recurring basis. It's whenever I have an inspiration or something happens, and then I write about it and I post it out. But yes, there's plenty of articles on various topics, anything related to relationship and dating. Probably a couple of my favorites is something that surprises guys and girls when I wrote about it, is the importance of body care and the first impression. This is something that many men don't realize, how much attention we women pay to a man when he shows up to us, and it takes 7 seconds to make the first impression. It's really hard to change that bad first impression. So I just coached a client, a female client, and she said, I had this date and it was awesome, but the guy just looked like he just woke up. The hair is not brushed. He was wearing some kind of sweatpants. And it's just like, how do you go on a date like not making any effort? And he was interesting. The conversation was interesting. He was smart, but yet that killed it for her. So that body care, how your posture, your smile is important, but then your clothes, your shoes, you show off your forearms. That's, we love that. The ladies really love that.
Oh, that's a good tip.
You smell. All of that is so important because you guys don't notice all those intricacies. We do, like even the nails, even the condition of your skin. And this is something for guys that's really important to be aware of. So this article got probably the most of like contradictory comments on that. It's like, why do we need to? It's like, yes, you do. Don't wear jeans, wear dressy pants, wear dress shoes, don't wear your running shoes. Make it look like you're actually excited, like this is special. Because if you show up and you look like a slob, excuse my language, they're just like, yeah, I'm just here to see what happens, but I'm not putting effort into it.
No, that's a great point. I whenever I go out, I make sure, I might not shave for a couple of days, but when I shave that day, it's my skin is smooth. I'm with you 100%.
Perfect.
Guys, we have to represent and talk about your coaching.
And my coaching, well, my coaching is my mission is truly just to change statistics on loneliness, because it's quite saddening how many people we have single and lonely. And what is very unfortunate, a lot of people that are single, they say, oh, it's just easier to be single, so I just don't feel like doing anything because I tried, it did not work. That's very disheartening, because you can absolutely find your love and find your person if you do it the right way, with the right tools, with the right set of skills. So when I coach, I do it in usually three major steps, three major steps. And the first one is usually we discover what is it that created obstacles for you right now. Like, why
Mhm.
is it up until this point you have not found your person? Once we figure that out, and very often that comes from the fact that the patterns have been repeating themselves, but the person has never taken the time to truly evaluate why the patterns keep repeating. So once we figure that out, then we work on the mindset. Are you going from the place of scarcity or the place of abundance, for instance, right? There's 8 billion people in the world. That's a lot of people. There's
Yeah.
people everywhere. So when people come to me, it's like, oh, there's just, I don't have anybody to date. There's just no people. I'm like, you leave your house and guess what? There are people everywhere. You go
Yeah.
to the grocery store, movie theater, post office, there are people everywhere. It's just about you having the right confidence, competence, and the skills to approach those people, so you can actually maximize your opportunities and chances of meeting somebody. So once the mindset is right and you go in with positive abundance mindset into your dating world, into your dating life, then I give you the set of tools and skills and techniques, particularly in dating. And that's when I teach the communication skills and the listening skills, the body language, the flirting, and everything else. And then you're fully equipped to go into the world and find your love.
I love that. I love that. And if somebody want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
My website is lovedandfulfilled.com. I think it's easy to remember because I
Yeah.
love the domain. Everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to be fulfilled. So lovedandfulfilled.com, and you can book a call. I'm happy to offer a free first free consultation just to see what the obstacles are, how I can give some guidance, how I can help. I also provide group coaching from time to time. There is on my website, you can get on a wait list if the last group has already been filled. And I do workshops. There's plenty of opportunities to get coaching. And the best way to get in touch with me is through booking the phone call with me. It's just a free consultation, and see how I can help you.
Right. No, sounds good. I'll definitely put that on the show notes. Well, first of all, Irena, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I definitely learned a lot. I definitely had a good time with you. And again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me, William. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.